Hello everybody, and welcome back. So we've got another P38 in today. This is a customer's car. He's had quite an experience with it from another Range Rover specialist. I'm not going to say any names, but they've made an absolute mess. They've wrecked the car really. It came with an engine disabled EKA lockout. I said to the customer I can definitely sort it. There's a few things that it can be. Now this has already been repaired. It is now at the point where it starts. We got it running quite a while ago, but I think it's important that people know how to fix them and not be intimidated away from having an EKA lockout. There's one particular company stroke person that I use, and he's fantastic. He's the only person that I know that can really do anything with them. So what I assumed it was, because I had the EKA code for the car. Now, if you don't have the service manual for the P38, that's not an issue. Call up Land Rover, give them your VIN number, and they'll check the historic codes. It does take them a couple of days, but they will send an EKA code back out to you. So you don't need to have nanocom. You don't need to take it off anywhere, have any special diagnosis. You can just call up and get it yourself. To enter the EKA code, you put the key into the door that way 4 times, and then let's say that your EKA code is 1, 2, 3. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when you put it in, it should, all the door locks will come up. You'll be able to start it then. That's syncing the key. Some P38s, this one has got an auto sync on the key, so it should, without having to put the EKA code in, you should be able to just put the key in the ignition, turn it into the prime position, and it'll sync itself after a few seconds. But this one doesn't seem to do it for some reason. I don't know what the reason is with that. So when the EKA code's entered, this is one of the major things that happens with them. So this one, I knew that there was already an error as soon as it turned up. When you input the code, this is an earlier Range Rover. The later ones, if it's still got the horn on, well, the alarm will go beep, beep, whoop each time that you turn the key. And if the side, well, all the indicators will flash each time you put one number into the sequence. When you do the 4 turns towards the lock to start it, on the 4th turn, it'll go blip, blip, or it'll flash. This one, the headlight light comes on each time you enter a part of the code in. Now, how that works is it's not syncing it to the car door. It's mechanical, really. As you can see, this one, I took the door card off. I could tell that there was issues with it as soon as I took the door card off, because this shouldn't be like this. The only reason that somebody would butcher a door like that is to swap the door lock over, the door catch. Now, I think I've still got some in the boot of the car. These are the door catches. So, which one is it? I'm pretty sure it's this one. When you put the key in, that locks it and unlocks it. So that's the middle piece for when you enter in the code. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, for your code on the EKA. These boxes are pretty synonymous with going wrong. The weather strips on the tops of the doors, moisture gets down when it rains and these get covered in water. If you've ever pulled one of these to pieces, up here there's 3 little micro switches, and it's only little plastic gears and rods that push the little switches. Equally, I mean, my daily drive Range Rover's got the same issue. Obviously these are plastic, which is a terrible idea really. They wear over time, so the rods that go from the door lock, the door handle, etc. will slowly eat away these plastic things. And if you've got a door that you have to like really play about with it to get it to lock or open, if you're using the key to open and lock the door, that's what it'll probably be. These are worn a bit. Also, this rod, see how it's rusted? Well, it's got remnants of rust on it. I've noticed quite a lot of Range Rovers, unbelievably, it eats the piece of metal that has the door handle part on it. So your door handle stopped working after a bit. The whole thing is really poorly thought out on P38s. It's plastic rubbing on plastic that operates the door handle, and then it's metal on plastic that operates this. And I'll say this is a key feature of it, because if you open up the door, so if it's locked, and you put the key in the door and you open it, and only your driver's door open, the central locker doesn't click, you'll get into your car, put your key in the ignition, engine disabled, because it thinks it's being broken into. Because this hasn't unlocked the car, so it's still in the immobilised position. And if you're not careful, you can get an EKA lockout doing that 3 times. If you enter the EKA code in wrong 3 times, that gets you a super lock, where the back doors won't open. Even if you open up the locks from the inside and you try opening them, they won't open. So it started off with me looking at this, because I thought, start with the simple, easy things first, try and keep the cost down for the customer, and, you know, methodically go through it. This whole video really is about why the P38 got a bad name, and it is frustrating when it goes wrong, but it's really not expensive to fix. You can do it yourself. It's very, very simple, and there's dedicated forums to it now. So anyway, on this particular one, obviously, as I say, they've cut a great big hole in the door. I have no idea why they'd do that. The door lock, by the way, is held in with these 3 bolts. To take it out, you have to take the Torx off the top there, and that'll flick the door handle forward. You can take the rod off, them 3 out with the window up. It'll fit down. It will come down here. You'll be able to lift it out from the bottom. There's 3 types of door locks. This is an earlier door lock, and again, this isn't me. Somebody has retrofitted a later door locking mechanism to it. So initially I thought, oh well, maybe that's possibly the problem. Maybe there's some shifty wiring going on. The customer said it started once after it was delivered by the previous company, and it was an engine disabled for ages. He's had it for a year parked up. So I tediously went through all them wires. The outstations, these are also part of it. I have a lot of them on the shelf. To my experience, I've never actually had one go, ever. But admittedly, it's a little bit different for myself because I've got all these parts on the shelf. But the next step in the procedure is a £10 outstation if you wanted to parts cannon it as opposed to buying a nanocom. So I tried. Oh, and by the way, low line. So if you've got an L on it or a H, it doesn't make any difference on the outstations. It'll still function as it should do, whether it's a high or low line. So I continued on to where the next batch of issues generally come from regarding this, and it's this white plug here. So I pulled it apart, checked for any corrosion in it, and this one, it was a little bit blue, but a lot of contact cleaner and a toothbrush, got it all nice and shiny. And eventually it came onto the BECM, which is the, oh sorry, I do apologise for the camera work in this, but it sits underneath the driver's seat. There's 2 10mm bolts outside and 1 at the back. I removed the BECM and checked every single plug. Sometimes this one hasn't got it. Land Rover did a recall, I suppose you could call it, and some of them have like an interloom plug with a fuse. It goes across 2 of the terminals here. Just take a photograph of it before you pull it to pieces, so as you know, just in case you end up putting any of these on wrong, because if you do, you're going to blow the BECM, and that is a bit of a problem then. So after I checked and cleaned all of that, still exactly the same. The EKA code that I had didn't function. So it was on to the next procedure. And the next procedure was, there's a man that I'm friends with. I deal with him quite a lot with Range Rover parts. So what you need to do is remove your BECM. You don't need the ignition barrel, just your key. remove your ECU. So there'll be a screw here, a screw there, remove the top. There's a little screw here, pull that out. Yeah, they do take a bit of jangling. And wrap them all up. Now, this is where it gets quite important. He does deal internationally, so if anybody in America has got a EKA Lockout Range Rover, or anywhere worldwide, but America, even with the tariffs, he's still doing it. The key centre at Tramaguer, Les Edwards, he's got a website, lesedwards.com. He specialises in unlocking the BCMs, cloning BCMs. If there's ever a fault with them, he's the man to sort it. So this one had been played with before. It had an amateur repair onto the BCM. I did witness the whole thing, but I didn't feel like recording him doing his bread and butter work. He cleaned quite a lot of it off. There was a little bit of water ingress, but he said it wasn't particularly bad water ingress. He said that there was a communication issue between the BCM and the ECU. The nail in the coffin, the primary reason why it wasn't starting was a collaboration of the BCM being poorly repaired as well as the key. So the Range Rover flip keys, they're getting to an age now where they seem to be going wrong, maybe at an accelerated rate. So that's the original key for this gentleman's Range Rover, where the battery contact goes onto it. There was a burn through one of the traces. So Les did, well, I wonder. Les has repaired it, but it wasn't sending any signal. He managed to get it so as the battery worked in it again, but he obviously correctly so said that it probably won't be able to work the central locking anymore. So this one is the replacement key. They all come like this. There's a procedure if ever you do need to have this job done, there's a 90% chance, to my experience with Les, you'll probably need to have a key. And even if you don't, it would be very sensible to get one cut. So, as I say, they come with a piece of paper. You completely print out the diagnostics of your BCM, the spec of your car, etc. And if you do get a key with it, there'll be a special procedure on how you sync the key to the car. He does say it takes 5 minutes, and it really does take 5 minutes. I've stood at the side of it for 5 minutes comfortably. This particular one, I thought, well, I'll put the procedure in wrong, and then clunk, clunk, and that was it, and away she went. So I'll probably do this video in segments, because this Range Rover needs to have quite a lot of work. We're going to put it for an MOT for the customer. I'm sorry I didn't really film all that much to do with repairing the BCM. The next one that comes through, I'll be sure to do. I'll probably do one of mine, because, you know, it's mine. The customer gave me permission to film the video. He's quite excited to have it on YouTube. As regards to myself, it's primarily because there's another company that's involved in this, and they're quite well known, as I say. So when mine, inevitably I'll buy a P38 soon, be it another V8 or a diesel or whatever, and it'll have an EKA lockout on it, and that's the way to go. So a closing statement with it, really, you could go onto eBay and buy a BCM ECU lock set for a P38, and that, you know, that'll fix the problem. Make sure that you've got the EKA code with it, although these are getting on, well, some of them are 30 years old now, 31 the earliest of them. So you're dealing with a BCM that can potentially be anything from 23 years old to 31 years old. So there could be water ingress in them. You know, these it's only an electrical item at the end of the day. They've got a life expectancy. I strongly advise anybody that does go through this, go to Les Edwards. This isn't me shilling for him or overly promoting him. He's just the best at dealing with these issues. He unlocks the ECUs. He can actually completely remove the EKA lockout issue. But it's all on his website. And as I say, if you don't, this is again imperative, because a lot of people think, oh, fuck, I don't have the EKA code for the Range Rover. Just call up your local Land Rover dealership. You won't sound stupid on the phone. Just say you've got a P38 Range Rover and you need to have the EKA code. It's not worth it. Supply them with the VIN number and they'll give you the EKA code. Follow the procedure that I said of how to fit it into the door earlier, and that should be it. Unless it's got something else electrically wrong with it. So this will be the first video in a series of videos on this particular Range Rover. I'm going to try and knock her out today. I'll get her MOT'd this following week. So if this video is of any help to anybody, I really hope it is. I'm doing this primarily because I love these cars. They're getting thin on the ground now. I myself have cut up my fair share of P38s. I think it's a shame. They're the most underrated Range Rover. And this is probably the #1 issue with them. This is why everybody thinks, God, they're shit. But it's not like it was before. When I was 19, I had one, EKA Lockout. They weren't cheap back then. It hadn't long run out of warranty. I scrapped it because of it. I took the engine out. It was a V8. I scrapped the rest of it. I put the V8 in an SD1. Now, as I say, it's affordable. I can't, off the top of my head, quote Les's prices, but he's not a fortune. You know, you're not talking thousands of pounds to have these repairs done. You're only talking hundreds of pounds. So, yeah, please like and subscribe and follow if you're interested in any more of this P38 stuff.